Hello and welcome to the motivation module. Motivation is one of the key elements to success, which helps us overcome any challenges and difficulties. In this module, we are going to discuss both students' and teachers' motivation. First, we're going to discuss motivating your students. In this video, we will talk about what motivation is, the types of motivation that exist, why students have trouble staying motivated, and ways to keep your students motivated and to motivate them even further. So, what is motivation? To put it in a broader context, it is the desire to gain an objective combined with the energy to work towards that objective. To put it in the context of an ESL classroom, it is something that gives the learners a reason to keep learning, along with the ability to work hard and the right attitude. Motivation is a key element to a learner's success, so we can't underestimate or neglect it in the classroom. Of course, it can come from different sources and last different amounts of time, depending on where it comes from. Let's explore the types of motivation to get a clearer understanding of it. There are 4 basic types of motivation. They are instrumental, integrative, intrinsic, and extrinsic. What does each of them entail? Instrumental motivation views the language as an instrument, a means to reach a certain aim. That might be furthering a career, translation, reading books, or watching films in the original. Integrative motivation is about integrating into the cultural context of the language one is learning. It also has to do with social interchange with English-speaking people, meaning exchanging ideas or thoughts. According to certain studies, students who got high scores on proficiency tests were also motivated in an integrative way. Intrinsic motivation is the kind which comes from enjoying the process of learning with no apparent reward apart from internally rewarding feelings of competence. Extrinsic motivation has to do with striving to get a reward or to avoid a punishment. There is a certain connection between these types of motivation. For example, intrinsic motivation might be integrative if the learner wants to integrate in the culture of the English-speaking country. Intrinsic motivation might also be instrumental if the learner wants to reach aims using English. Two learners might have the same integrative motivation, but different intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. All that we can say for sure is that all 4 are important in the learner's journey to mastering English. Alright, so we know what motivation is and what kinds there are. It seems clear enough. Why is it so hard for the students to stay motivated, especially in exam classes? There are several reasons for that. They might have difficulty learning. This is unpleasant, but especially so in an exam class, where the pressure is a lot higher and the time constraints are very, very strict. English becomes the aim and not a means of communication. This means that they focus more on the mechanics of the language, for exam purposes, and not on the actual communication or reading for pleasure, for example. There might be too much pressure coming from the parents, and they are afraid to underperform, so they go in the opposite direction and stop trying, because if you aren't even trying, you can't fail. The exam part takes all the fun out of the English lesson. It's too much work and not enough play. The materials are quite dry, and there isn't enough content. This, again, stems from the nature of the target material. The increased accuracy demand. The focus in exam classes is very much shifted on accuracy, which might be very demotivating for the students who are not that strong. The increased skills gap. If the learner is strong, the exam tasks are going to be a lot easier for them to do compared to a weaker student, as they are harder than what is normally done in class. This can be very demotivating for the latter. There might be a lot of other reasons why the learners lose motivation, but it is the teacher's job to help guide them to finding it again and achieving their aims.